Greetings. This is day 4 of learning Java from scratch. We are learning Java because eventually we're going to code a website and we're not going to use any of this information, but it's going to build a foundation of understanding of programming. And I already started the class, so I'm going to finish. Anyways, we're going to learn and then I'm going to speed run what I learned. Knowledge has been absorbed. What did we learn about today? Primitive and wrapper class, data types. Wrappers can hold null. Primitives don't hold null. They give you a default number. Usually it's 0. For Booleans, it is false. This is important because some cases you need a default, like in your cart on your online shopping website. Your default is going to be 0. A use case for wrapper class would be YouTube likes. You either do nothing, which would be null. You can like the video, which would return a true Boolean, or you can dislike the video, which would be a false Boolean. So that is when you would use a wrapper and then primitives. I also learned about how code is compiled, how it goes from English to Java to how it's read by the computer. And it gets compiled and exported and packaged, and it gets turned into bytecode. Apparently this information was important before I get into strings. As you go further down, humans can't read the code. It's like machine only assembly, I think. But yeah, we learned about strings being objects and how they're stored in memory. Once you increase the scale, there's going to be a lot of strings and a lot of repeat strings, so string literal becomes important. Also, strings have no primitive type because they are objects. So we're going to go over string builders and a little exercise. Alrighty, we are going to run through a string builder in Java. Started off with a string builder command. I always spell this wrong every single time. String builder. And for this example, we're going to write a letter to our boss that just fired us. Do letter to boss. And we're going to do new string, and we're going to say, Dear Greg, how dare you sully my livelihood with your bogus, that's just so that you can read it, accusations, period. Line break, because we want this to be readable in our code window. And let's print this out. Letter to boss. Oh, we already have an issue. Oh, yeah. Let's add parentheses. Cool. Uh-oh. Okay, so there was the issue. This also needs to be a string builder to keep the data types from string and string builder. All right, so let's move on. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to append. We're going to add to this. We're going to letter to boss dot append. And what we want to append is I hope you die in a hole. And we're going to print this out again. Well, almost forgot, semicolon every time. Letter to boss. Alrighty, so now we have, you can see our append has been added. I hope you die in a hole. And it's on a new line because we added a line break. But another thing you can do with string builders is you can replace text. So Let's say you want to change that because I hope you die in a hole is a little brash. So let's change it to something else. This is in our string. So we're going to pull up an integer. And this integer is going to be, we'll call it length of last, camel case, length of last char in first sentence. That is a mouthful. And that is equal to, what is that equal to? Letter to boss dot length. That's just to find where the number is. So let's print that out. Length of, thank God for autofill. So that is at 100, all right? Now, we don't necessarily need to use 100, but we wanted to establish this for this sentence before we add more. Actually, we're gonna move this, Command X. We're gonna move it above the append, and we're gonna print it again. Okay, excellent. So now we have our integer at the end of this sentence so that whatever we change down here, it's not going to affect this part of the message. Let's do letter to boss. And then we're going to dot replace. So we are going to pick a part that we want to replace, and it's going to replace everything after this first sentence because we have this length identified. So we're going to do length of last character, tab, comma, let's do letter to boss. Letter to boss dot length plus 1. No, minus 1 because it includes 0. So we're actually going to start with the first sentence and end at the end of the first sentence. So we're just telling Java that we don't want to mess with that first sentence in our replacement. This next part is the string that we want to replace. So we're going to do atone for your actions or feel the wrath of the ancient ones. Really freak the boss out. Then we're going to close parentheses, which are down below here. So that is where we're going to put our semicolon, and let's print and see what happens. Letter to boss. And this is good to see our progression here. So we have down here, let's see. Dear Greg, how dare you sully my livelihood with your bogus accusations, atone for your actions, or feel the wrath of the ancient ones. Okay, so we did replace this sentence with this sentence, and that's what we were trying to do. So let's do one final thing. Another function of string builder is that you can reverse text. So let's add a cryptic message at the end of reverse text to really freak the boss out. Think that you're entering some sort of psychosis or summoning some ancient one that you're referring to. And for this, we're going to just make a new string, reverse it, and then append it to our letter. We'll call this cursed text equals. And I'm going to just quickly find some Latin sample text. I think that will add to the freakiness. And we are going to use this. Command C. Add our new string builder. And inside of here, we're going to put Command V. Oop, can't forget the quotations. And let's do that. All right. Next up, we want to append curse text. So first we want to reverse the curse text. Curse text dot reverse. Tab. Then we want to pull up letter to boss, append, and what we want to append is the curse text. Semicolon. And now let's see if our entire letter prints. Letter to boss. We have all of our other stuff here too. Dear Greg, how dare you sully my livelihood with your bogus accusations? Atone for your actions and feel for the wrath of the ancient one. Feel the wrath. Wraith? Oh no, we misspelled something. Wrath of the ancient ones. Oh, we want this on a new line. Let's add a line break. And illegal character. Didn't I do that? All right, let's print out the final letter. And we're going to hide the other prints using comments. All right, let's see. Run. Dear Greg, here it is. And it has the perfect Latin text at the end so that it truly freaks out the boss. That concludes today's lesson. Remember, the goal is we are learning how to program to make our own website, and if something else good happens out of it, that's great. Follow for more of this.